Welcome to BibleTech401, Lesson 8. This course is on advanced tools, technological tools for studying and teaching God's Word. I have talked about a lot of fun tools. Today's lesson is going to be a little shorter, a little easier to grasp, I think, than some of the more complicated lessons that we've had on regular expressions and even on Markdown. This is something very simple, but I'm shocked how few people use this. My oldest son, who as of this recording is 15, he uses this sort of thing, and he is a boy after his dad's own heart. My other children and my wife, alas, do not. Managing search engines in Chrome, which has a little bit of overlap in functionality with Raycast, and I'll show you that, Lord willing, if I can remember to keep it all in my head. I don't script these lessons, I just kind of plan them out. Anyway, I will show you how to do that in this relatively brief video. Here I am in Google Chrome. I have tried using Safari over the years because I'm a Mac guy, and you would think that Safari would meet my needs. It would be nice to be totally integrated into the Mac atmosphere, but I really can't do that because I need to keep a connection to various Google accounts I have in different browser windows. So I have my own account here, and then I have a number of others like my Word on Words account, like my design account, like my wife's two accounts for what they are worth. Here I am in my standard account. I've got a couple bookmarks up here. I don't use them all that often, to be honest, but I do use managed search engines. If I hit Command comma, or in Windows, I don't know what, to get to the preferences, and then I search for manage search engines and site search, let me show you what I've got. For site searches, here is a standard example. Let me first show you what this one does, and then I'll show you how it's set up. This is really simple. I open a new tab with Command T. I want to do everything from the keyboard if I can. I type A, then space. And because this is a named search engine for which I have named the shortcut, much like I can do in Raycast, here in Chrome, if I type the name of a book, let's say authorize the use and misuse of the King James Bible, and I hit enter, it searches Amazon for me. I am constantly searching Amazon and a number of other major sites, so why would I go to Amazon.com, hit enter, go click in here, and then type authorize the use and misuse? I don't need to do that. I can use search engines in Chrome. I can search my blog with B. The most important sites get the shortest shortcuts. So B, I can search for King James Version. I wonder if I ever talked about that on my blog. Sure enough, I have a bunch of posts on my blog that come up. I can search the American Heritage Dictionary with D. I have that mapped to the new Oxford American Dictionary in Raycast, but it's worth it to me to also search the American Heritage, so I have that mapped this way in Chrome. If I search for, I don't know, a word like commend, I get a nice definition. I am a little upset with the American Heritage Dictionary for pretending to still exist. They haven't been updating the work as far as I can tell. The 5th edition is copyright 2022, but I wonder how many differences there actually are between that and the previous edition. I just don't know. John McWhorter told me that he's no longer on the usage panel because they don't have a usage panel anymore, which can only mean they're not really doing the work anymore. That is what I go to the American Heritage Dictionary to give me. But language doesn't change that fast. I can still get value out of it. Okay. I have E for the ESV. I can just go to a passage really quickly in the ESV, Romans 1 here. I have GB for Google Books, GB, and then let me see, maybe I'd want to find something old. That's often what I'm using Google Books for. Search for Matthew Henry. There we go. I have a bunch of additional sites. Google Images, Google Maps, which I'm constantly using. Project Gutenberg is Goot, so I can find something by Jane Austen. I just read Pride and Prejudice, and it was hilarious. It was amazing. I read it years ago. I actually listened on audio, but this is the first time I just read through it on my Kindle. I paid 99 cents for a nicely made Kindle version, but I could have been cheap and I could have gone to Project Gutenberg. And occasionally I find myself using Goot to do that. I no longer use my Latin dictionary very much. Let me see if I can think of a word here. Cum for with. Sure enough. I don't use this much because I now have the Oxford Latin Dictionary in Logos, and I use the raycast functionality for that I showed in another video. Leo, the German dictionary. I search Logos on a regular basis. Merriam-Webster, the Middle English Dictionary, the New York Times, the OED, the Oxford Dictionary of National Biography, ProQuest, which I don't have access to anymore, but someday maybe I will, so I keep it there. Rotten Tomatoes, Stanford Encyclopedia of Philosophy, the Thesaurus at thesaurus.com, Unsplash for royalty-free images. So if I just type U space and then city, you know what? I think I need to change this one. Let me show you. If it breaks, this is what you do. You type city. This is how you start a new one too. Type city in the search bar, okay? Then you observe the URL that's created. You copy that URL, Command C or Control C on Windows. Then you come into either edit, we'll edit now and we'll create one later, and then put a %S in place of the thing that I searched for. It should allow me to search for that thing, sure enough. They've changed that more than once. I do not know why. I don't know why they changed their URL. I have Wikipedia, WorldCat, Webster's 1828. Let's look up commend in there. Interesting for those of you who know any of my work. To produce or present to favorable notice. Would we ever say this in our English? The chorus had an occasion of commending their voices to the king. Wordnik is another website that is for lexicography. It actually pulls together multiple dictionaries. I ought to use it more often, to be honest. That's helpful to have. And then I'm constantly searching YouTube. Those are my main managed search engines. I'm going to add one now. I do like to go to pluggedin.com. My kids are constantly asking me, as they get older, they're actually asking me less. We don't have time to watch movies very often as a family. We're all so busy as the kids get up into middle school and high school. But recently we saw this advertisement for Fly Me to the Moon, and somebody said that it was clean and maybe we could watch it. So I would use Plugged In to find that. It is, it's not on here. Why would that not be on here? It actually doesn't matter because I'm just going to grab that URL, grab the whole thing, Command C. I'm going to add a new search engine for site search. I'm going to call it Plugged In Online. This is a ministry of Focus on the Family. I once talked to one of their major reviewers at a conference back when I was younger, urging him gently, graciously, but not to do this at all. Like, why should you even watch any rated R movies? And boy, I still feel awkward about it, having someone else watch this stuff for me to tell me if there's schlock in it. But boy, do I appreciate it, because I turn down a lot of movies that people in my family see advertisements for. Then I add a shortcut. For me, that'll be PL for Plugged In. And then I paste that query in there, that URL, and I look for, where do I see Fly Me to the Moon? You can see it right there. Fly, %2B, me, %2B, which must be a stand-in for a space. And then I replace that with %S, click Add. And now if I open a new tab, type PL and space, then I can type Fly Me to the Moon. It will search for me. Now, why is it not finding the new Apple TV movie or new-ish? I do not know. But it did search. Did I give the wrong title? I'm not sure. Okay, I promised a little more knowledge about Raycast here. Why would I duplicate functionality in Raycast that I have in Chrome? It's a really simple answer. If I'm just anywhere on my Mac doing who knows what, then Raycast is the fastest way for me to get to an Amazon search. I actually have a text replacement set up for my book title, and I can go to it fast. I actually have text replacement set up for a link to my book because I'm constantly giving it out to people. I can get there fast another way through Raycast. But if I'm already in Chrome, the fastest way for me to search Amazon is Command T, A, space, and then I'm making a search. If you don't use search engines and shortcuts like this, you're just not going to be as fast whipping around your computer. You're going to waste time, as it were, turning pages rather than reading. Let me mention just a couple other random free bonuses for this video. I really care about typography, and so if I come to a website and it's not very good looking, or it has a bunch of ads shouting at me, but I want to read the article, now I'm having a hard time thinking of an example. All right, Reformation 21. I have not always been happy with their typography. Let me see if they've improved it since the last time I was there. That's okay, but actually I don't love it. So I use, where did it go? Here we go. this Postlight reader to, with a click, totally get rid of any advertisements, give me nice readable text that I can choose. And I use that regularly. I used to have it on a shortcut. I can't remember if I do now because they changed things around a little bit. If I manage that extension, do I have a shortcut? I don't see an option for that anymore. Okay, here's another thing that I do. Let's say I'm on this article. I really want to read this, but I don't have time right now. So I use the Instapaper plugin. I've used different services over the years. This is the one I've stuck with now for by far the longest. And I either click it and it adds it to my Instapaper list, or I can hit, and this is what I usually do, Command-Shift-S. So I must have some kind of, yeah, this has options, Command-Shift-S. I don't know if this does or not. It does have options. Let's make sure. Close this window, click on Extensions, and then click on Keyboard Shortcuts. Let's do that. I'm going to click on the Extensions menu in the top left corner. I'm going to go to the Extensions menu, Manage Extensions. In the top left corner, I see Keyboard Shortcuts. I will scroll down to Postlight Reader, and it has me on Shift-Command-M. I guess I already have done this. I know what happened. I used to use Shift-Command-R because it was a one-handed way to do it, and I think that's used for other things. Great. Yeah, I'm getting my life back together in front of your eyes. I actually frequently have to use Identifont because I'm a designer, and I use it to tell me what font is being used, where they're using Quattrocento, which I think is a pretty good choice, and Quattrocento Sans. I don't usually like to pair it that way. I find that it has this appeal initially, but then doesn't end up working. I do have iCloud passwords. I do have, I can send something directly to Kindle with this Chrome extension, and then this is designer stuff that I don't particularly need to share with you. Those are the things that I am constantly using as I am whipping around my computer and trying to make Chrome a tool for actual work rather than just entertainment or something. I want to get to content fast rather than doing a bunch of clicking. I want to do it all from the keyboard, and I hope this helps.